is Melody. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. Today we are unboxing the June Scrawlr box. I know that it is already like mid-July by the time this is going up, but because I live in the US and it ships from, I want to say Scotland, but somewhere in the UK, it takes a while to get to me, and I have a feeling COVID makes things even slower. It seems like things are just shipping slower than they would otherwise. Of course, we start with this candy. It was, I don't really know what it was, honestly. It kind of had like a taffy texture, and it was fruity, so it was good. Then we have our little sticker, which is a nice, pretty, like, orange, purpley, yellow gradient. We next have a paintbrush. It is the Sea White Synthetic Round Brush. I did enjoy this brush. We then have this pencil, which is, I'm going to say this wrong, the Caran d'Ache Prismalo pencil, and it is a water pencil, which means you can use water on it, and I did actually read the card this time. I think there was one box where you could use water over things, and I didn't realize it until the very end, and it kind of messed with me. But I did read it this time, and it is water soluble. It actually looks really cool. The gel pen, of course, is the Jelly Roll 08 White. I used to use Jelly Roll a lot, but recently I've actually switched to using the Signo Uniball Broad White Gel Pen. It just seems to go on smoother. I feel like with the Jelly Roll, a lot of times as you're trying to put it down, the pigment kind of stops and it breaks and you have to go over the same part over and over, which did happen with the Signo this time around, but we'll get to that later. These things, these blocks, are Derwent Inktense blocks. So according to the little thing that came with it, you're supposed to put water on it, and when it dries, it is permanent, so you can work over the dry areas without affecting the original layers of colors, which is pretty cool. The problem for me is that I like lines, and these are blocks, so it's hard to get nice lines. I feel like these are a lot easier for gradients and things like that. But because we did have the option of using a paintbrush, I do think that makes it a little bit easier. The artist this month was Alice Coles. I guess she is on YouTube. Hello Alice is her name. I feel like I've heard of her, but I don't know. Maybe you've heard of her. Maybe you follow her. I will definitely have to look her up. If you want more information on the art supplies, you can pause the video and read that for yourself. I'm not going to read everything that's on there because this video would be too long. Anyway, now we are on to the fun part of actually trying these supplies. So I actually really like the way that the pencil turns out. It's a nice like black to gray gradient. The blocks I'm not as fond of. I was noticing as I was dipping my brush in the water that like whole chunks of it came off. So I think it is easier if you blow away the dust or brush away the dust before adding water, because the dust that you create, it's almost like a chalk pastel in that it gets pretty dusty. Not as dusty as a chalk pastel, but you get the gist. So definitely brush it away. I also played around on my sketchbook with actually using it more as like a watercolor palette where you can put some down on a page and dip the brush in it and use it, and it did seem to work pretty well like that. The prompt for this box is spirit animal. I don't really know what my spirit animal would be. I really recently would think like deer or a wolf or something, but I wanted to draw a fox, so for today's video, we're going to say my spirit animal is a fox. I was also tempted to draw my cat because she's like cute and adorable but has a grumpy face, and it's amazing. But I wanted to draw a fox, and my idea for this was to have the back of the fox kind of like facing a forest and having the ground be really dark and then get lighter up. That changed because it wasn't quite working the way I wanted it to. I put the pencil down when the background was still a little bit wet, and instead of lifting when I went in with the paintbrush, it just sat on top of it. So if you want to do an extra layer, you need to make sure that your paper is completely dry first. So I kind of had the way I looked, but it just didn't look like there was a lot of depth to it. So I started trying to add purple and blue, and that still wasn't working for me. So I ended up just putting black everywhere, basically. So I put black around the corners. In a moment, I'll go in and add some purple and pink to the midsection and kind of just like blend it all together so that the middle becomes a focal point because it's a little bit lighter. The fox, I also ended up using this like the brown orange color with the yellow and then using a little bit of pink just to add a little extra dimension of color. And that's why I put the pink in the middle there to kind of draw it together while also making the fox stand out. Of course, because I am an impatient person, I used my heat gun to dry things faster. I really did not want to try to go in with the jelly roll on wet paper, and even once it was dried, it just did not want to write. I had a little bit of problem with the Signo, and I think the problem is that you're using something that's kind of chalky. I know that we used water on it, but still it kind of has that texture where it seems to like get stuck in the ball of the pen and make it not want to write properly. So you see me scribbling on my sketchbook to try to clear it up so I can actually draw. And then because I still wasn't really fond of how the trees were looking, I decided to make this look kind of scribbly. And I just like, I don't know what I was doing, but I went for it. I honestly don't know how I feel about how this piece turned out, but we're pretty much near the end of it. It was definitely an adventure, I'll give it that. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like. If you have not already, please subscribe. And if you have anything to say to me, say it in the comments. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!